YouTube, Andrew Sellers here. Welcome once again to Dragon's Dojo Gaming. So, I know the Pokemon card game has much evolved since I got this deck, but I'm about to show you a deck profile for an old Pokemon deck that I ran back when I was playing Pokemon tournaments at my shop. I used to hold them every Saturday. At one point, I would always hold them at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. There was a point to where we got Pokemon TCG tournaments quite consistently, but ever since my shop started to get slower due to gas prices going up, and due to my shop being in the middle of nowhere. For those of you that don't know or remember, I used to hold my shop at Umatilla, Florida, and Umatilla, for some of you that know, is in the middle of nowhere, like Alabama. So, I'm about to get on to the deck profile. Once again, please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll be sure to bring more. 12th Psychic Energy to start out with. So, you could play like 10 to 13 in this deck, but I prefer to play 12, just because it's nice and even and you won't really run out of it. Now for the Pokemon. 4 copies of Dragapult V. So, you don't really use Bite. If you have just 1 Psychic Energy, you use Bite for 30. But Jet Assault is its real good move. If you end up switching it with another Pokemon, and if it uses Jet Assault on the turn it gets swapped out, you deal 140 damage instead of just 60. Solid card in my opinion, at least for its time. Because I know that Paldea Pokemon are coming to the game soon, and once that comes out, EX Pokemon are coming back, and the rules of the game are going to change, and then eventually set rotation will come out. Next up, 3 Dragapult Vmax. I prefer it as a 3 of. You don't want to run it as a 4 of because 4 Vmaxes, in my opinion, are a little bricky. One of its moves is Shred. Let's see, the damage inflicted, Shred does 60 damage, and the attack that it deals isn't affected by any card effects. And Max Phantom says if it has 2 or more energy, you inflict 130 damage to the opponent's Pokemon. Then you put 5 damage counters on your opponent's benched Pokemon in any order you like. So yeah, it's a really good card. It was definitely one of the best decks in older formats. Next up, 4 copies of Rapid Strike Sobble. You rarely ever use Double Spin because all it really does is just 2 damage and 20 or 40 higher depending on how many coins you flip. But the move it's really there for is Keep Calling. All you need is 1 energy, use Keep Calling just once, and you've got yourself a whole bunch of Sobbles. That's if you have the rest of the Sobbles in your main deck. Next up, 3 Drizzile. Its ability is Shady Dealings. When you evolve it, you add any item card from your deck to your hand, any trainer card from your deck to your hand that you want. Whether it be a regular trainer card or a supporter trainer card. But it's a great card. Now for the Inteleons. 2 copies of Quick Shooting Inteleon, and 1 copy of Shady Dealings Inteleon. Shady Dealings Inteleon's a personal tech that I use. And instead of just grabbing 1 trainer card, you grab 2. And I run 2 of the Quick Shooting Inteleon because this is a Pokemon that can attack while it's in you, that can attack Pokemon in your opponent's bench. Quick Shooting deals 2 damage counters to any of the opponent's Pokemon. It can also be your opponent's active Pokemon, but usually I use it on benched Pokemon. Now for the item cards. 4 copies of Fog Crystal. Fog Crystal's there to get your Dragapults and your energies out faster. Next up, 4 Quick Balls. With this, you discard a card from your hand, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, and add it to your hand. 4 Great Balls. You search the top 7 for any Pokemon and add it to your hand. 2 Evolution Incense. This card lets you add any evolution Pokemon from your deck to your hand. 2 Air Balloon. If you choose to switch out a Pokemon, you can do it for the cost of 2 less energy. And it's an item card, so only held Pokemon that hold the item can use it. 2 copies of Switch. Unlike Air Balloon, it is not an item card, but you can use this card as many times as you draw into it per turn, and you switch Pokemon, active and benched Pokemon for free. 3 copies of Professor's Research. Turn you play it, you discard your whole hand and draw 7 cards. 4 copies of, in my opinion, one of the best supporter cards in this whole game. 4 Boss's Orders. You choose your opponent's active Pokemon and a Pokemon in their bench, and they're forced to switch those Pokemon out. It's really good for eliminating Pokemon faster and helping you get more prize cards faster. 4 copies of Marnie. There's kind of a gamble to using this card, but overall this is a really good supporter card. So when you play this card, both players shuffle their hands into their decks. The user draws 5 cards and the opponent draws 4. It can quite potentially give your opponent cards that they'll want or need, but it can give you really good luck as well. But despite that this is kind of a risky card, it's overall really good. Finally, for supporters, 1 copy of Raihan. When your active Pokemon gets knocked out, you can add any Pokemon from your deck to your hand, and you can also add an energy from your discard pile to any of your Pokemon. And finally, a stadium card known as Path to the Peak. So for as long as this card's out, your opponent's V and GX Pokemon's effects are negated. Granted, GX Pokemon were banned by the time I picked this deck up, but it was really good for canceling out the opponent's V effects. So I have used this deck once against a good friend of mine named Thomas. I've recorded a YouTube video of it last year. For those of you that haven't seen it, please be sure to check that video out. And despite that this is a deck for an old Pokemon format, I want to say thank you all for watching. Once again, please like and subscribe for more content, and have a blessed day, everyone.